Hey there my crafty friends, this is Misty with Gleespen Designs. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. If you are new here, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to say hi, and if you've been here before, hey friend. First off, I would like to start off this video by saying thank you to all of the people that watched my previous video. You guys are absolutely amazing. I am loving all of the kind words in the comments, and I've never had this much attention on YouTube before, so again, I wanted to say thank you. In the comments section, I had so many people saying they could not wait for another DIY video, so I got to work right away. So for today's video, I have 7 neutral decor DIYs, and I'm so excited to show you, so let's get right into it. DIY number 1 is this vintage farms basket. For this DIY, you'll need a bucket from the Dollar Tree, and I have used other size and shapes, and they worked fine. I went the easy route and just spray painted mine with the white Rust-Oleum chalk paint, but you could definitely hand paint this as well. I am absolutely loving this gingham print, buffalo plaid, whatever you'd like to call it, the white and black check fabric from Dollar Tree. I love this, and you actually get a decent price, I think, for the $1.25, but all you're going to do is take the fabric, put it over your bucket, and then take your hands and kind of push it down in the center so that it goes down to the bottom of the bucket. Now you're going to start adding hot glue at the very top brim of the bucket, but you're going to add the fabric right where it flaps over. You see how I'm not like putting it right on the seam of the fabric? I'm making sure that the fabric is down at the bottom, and then the extra that is flapping over right where it hits that edge, that's where I hot glue it. While I'm doing this, I do keep taking my hand and placing it down inside the bucket, making sure that the fabric is still touching down at the bottom. Once your glue has dried, I just use my scissors and cut off all of that extra fabric that is hanging around the bucket, and I do cut really close as I can to where I hot glued the fabric to the bucket. Using some of the jute twine from the Dollar Tree, I add a dab of hot glue right where the handle begins on the bucket, and then I just glue that twine to that part of the handle, and I start wrapping the handle with the jute twine. Basically just putting it through the center and wrapping it around until the handle is completely covered, and I do that to both of the handles. Using the Dollar Tree nautical rope, this is the 9.5 foot nautical rope, I just simply add some hot glue onto my bucket right where the fabric is cut off, pretty much where you also hot glued the fabric down, and you're just going to hot glue it around the bucket, almost kind of like a brim or border. I knew I wanted something on the front of this, and I was going to use the Dollar Tree sticker letters, but then I found this silk screen transfer set on Amazon, and the whole pack came together, but you can buy them separately. And no, this is not Chalk Couture, and you guys, the price of this is, I mean, a third of Chalk Couture prices. And they have actually a lot of the same style as Chalk Couture. And you guys, I'm so impressed. I absolutely love these. I've used them many times already, and I'm telling you, it is an amazing deal. Look how absolutely gorgeous all of these are, and I will definitely have this link down below in the description box. With these transfers, you do not necessarily have to fuzz them like you would Chalk Couture transfers, which fuzzing is just placing it onto a cloth or the fuzzing cloth from Chalk Couture and taking it off a few times, putting it back on and taking it off so that you get fuzz on the back of the transfer so that it doesn't stick to your project like vinyl and you can easily remove it. Well, with these transfers, you don't necessarily have to do that unless you feel like it. You know, some surfaces they do stick a little bit more to, so if you feel like it's going to stick to your surface, you definitely can fuzz it. So now all you have to do is take some chalk paste or even chalk paint and fill in your transfer. Once it is all filled in, peel your transfer off and you have this gorgeous image. And here's how this DIY turned out. I am so in love with this basket or bucket, whatever you would like to call it. I think that fabric with the rope looks so amazing, and no matter what you put in it, it will look absolutely beautiful. Quick little bonus DIY, those eggs I've had so many people ask about on TikTok, and all I did was paint those Dollar Tree gold eggs white and then use my Cricut to cut out the words and place it onto the eggs. On to the next DIY, which is this large flower basket. For this DIY, you will need 2 of the longer hanging shelves from Dollar Tree and 1 of the 2-pack of short hanging shelves from Dollar Tree. Using my white chalk paint and just a simple foam brush from the Dollar Tree, I go through and I paint all of those wood pieces white. Once I have all 4 of my wood pieces painted white, I add some hot glue to the bottom of one of the shorter shelves and I hot glue it right to the bottom side of one of the longer shelves. Then I did the same exact thing with the other short wood piece and I just glued it right to the side of the long wood piece. And then I just go in with my hot glue gun, add some hot glue to the 2 shorter pieces, and then I place the second longer wood piece right on top. And again, make sure you have everything all nice and straight. You do not have to have a bottom to your box, but for me, I wanted to have a bottom, so I used some of the Dollar Tree foam board, and I just placed my box right on top of it, took a pencil, and traced out the inside of the box. And now I just use my little handy dandy Dollar Tree X-Acto knife. They come with a few different heads. I love this X-Acto knife. It is a crafter's must-have. So I just cut out that rectangle and it will slide right down into your box that you have created. And I add some hot glue going around almost like it is caulking it. And I just go all around all 4 of the sides and hot glue it to the box. Using 2 of the Dollar Tree wooden spatulas, they don't have to be this exact spatula, but you do want them to have a hole up at the top on the handle. So next I just went in with my white chalk paint and painted both of the spatulas white. Add a decent amount of hot glue on the bottom part of the spatula, which is the wider end, and then you're just going to hot glue it right to the center side of your box. You could use a stronger glue, E6000, whatever you would like. I'm personally using the Gorilla Glue hot glue sticks, so they stick absolutely amazing, and I will have these linked down below in the description box. Then I do the exact same thing with the second spatula. Using these little sticky dots from the Dollar Tree, these are the bigger ones. They do have smaller ones at Dollar Tree as well. I just went in with my black chalk paint and painted a few of those black. These do have a sticky back to them, but to make sure that they last a very long time and that they do not fall off, I just use some of my hot glue and place it onto the back of the little sticky dot, and then I start placing the sticky dots on all of those little holes that are on all 4 sides of the wood crate. So basically, again, I'm just covering up the 4 holes on this side, then I move it to the other sides and do the same exact thing. I'm sure most of you have seen these tin buckets from Dollar Tree. Well, I like the flower and garden little image on there. So I use my garden shears, which you guys do not do this. Use normal scissors. Long scissors are great. This actually cuts very, very easily. I mean, go in and try and cut one and you'll see I made this so much worse on myself by using these short little scissors. I thought that it was going to be really hard to cut, but once I actually switched to my normal scissors, which I used actually some really dull ones because I didn't want to ruin any of my good scissors, and you guys, it cuts so easy, and I definitely made this harder. So do as I say and not as I do with this part here. And as you can see, it cuts very, very easily with these dull scissors. I cut it down to the size that I would like, and then I use my hot glue gun and I just add a decent amount onto the back of the little galvanized little sign, and then I add it right to the front center of our flower box. At this point, you could leave the front just as is, but I of course have to go one more step further, and I'm using these bamboo sticks that you guys have probably seen me use on my channel before. I have these on my Amazon store. I will have them linked down below. I use these for so many different things, lots of borders. They are absolutely great. I painted a couple with my black chalk paint and then cut them down to size and started hot gluing them around that galvanized metal little square. You could also use the Dollar Tree craft sticks, skewer sticks, dowel rods, whatever you would like to create this border as well. At my Dollar Tree, I was not able to find any of their dowel rods, so I went to Walmart and found this super long dowel rod, and I believe it was under $1. So all I did was cut it down to the size that I needed and painted it black with my black chalk paint. Once the dowel rod is nice and dry, go ahead and push it right into those 2 holes that are at the top of your spatulas. And once you finish this step, your wood basket is finished and you can start adding whatever you would like to the inside. I added some Dollar Tree moss and lots of florals. And here's how this DIY turned out. Of course, I absolutely love how this DIY turned out. It is just so cute and it is absolutely huge. I love the size and you could add so many different things inside of your basket. Moving right along to the next DIY, which is this adorable wooden ladder. For this DIY, I'm using 2 of the Dollar Tree plungers. I already took one of the plunger parts off, but all you have to do is twist that plunger part and it will screw right off. I will also be using a larger dowel rod from Walmart, and I'm going to cut 3 pieces off of this, and the size of your pieces depend on how far away you want your sides of your ladder to be, basically how wide you would like your ladder. So you're going to cut 3 of those pieces off, and I just scored it with my miter shears and then bent it in half, breaking it. Using my antiquing wax and a paper towel, you could use stain, you could paint this, or you could leave them just as is. I covered mine completely with this antiquing wax. And I did this to all of the pieces, the 2 plunger pieces, and all 3 of the little step pieces. Before I glue all my ladder pieces down, I like to place them on to my ladder to see how far away I would like them to be, and then I just grab them one at a time and put them right back on, hot gluing them down. Down at the bottom of our plunger, there is those little ridges where we took off the plunger part, as you can see here. So I just wanted to cover that up. You could leave it if you would like, but I wanted a little bit more of a finished look, and so you wouldn't be able to tell that it was made from plungers. So I just took some of the Dollar Tree jute twine and hot glued it to the bottom of the plunger and wrapped it around quite a few times, then hot gluing it into place. And I did this on both sides of the ladder. And of course, I had to go one more step further with the jute twine, so all I did was hot glue it to the back of the ladder where the steps are, and then I wrap it a few times going in one direction, and then I wrap it a few times going in the opposite direction, creating that X look on the ladder steps. I did this to all 3 of the steps on both sides. I think that looks so cute and it just goes so well. At Dollar Tree, usually in the party section or baby shower / wedding section, you can find these packs of tin buckets. They're little white tin buckets. They come in a 3-pack, and I used 2 of those for this ladder, and I just add some greenery into one and then some Dollar Tree lavender into the other. To attach these little buckets to the ladder, I'm going to be using this farmhouse ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I just cut off a little piece of it, added it right underneath the handle on the bucket, and then I wrap it around the wood part that's on the step and hot glue it into place. I think this is just so cute, and I love how the little buckets hang from the ladder. And of course, I did the same thing with the second bucket, wrapping that ribbon right around the step. At this point, I thought I was done with the ladder, but of course, you guys know me, and I have to go one more step further, and that is just adding some of the Dollar Tree jute twine to the center of the ribbon that is holding the buckets to the ladder. I just love that two-tone look with the twine and the ribbon. I think it just looks absolutely amazing. And you guys, look how gorgeous this DIY turned out. And as always, I am obsessed with this DIY. I love that you can change out the florals for each season and each holiday. Our next DIY is this gorgeous clear stained glass vase / candle holder. Use a glass vase from the Dollar Tree. It doesn't have to be this exact vase, but you do want it to be glass. You will also need a pack of the laser cutouts from Dollar Tree, and they have so many different ones you can choose from. Crosses, clocks, birds, sea animals, I mean, so many different things. These come with 3 different styles and you get 2 of each style, but they are a little bit thick, so you actually can pull them apart so that you get more out of one design, and also the pieces will be much thinner. Next, I go in with my paintbrush and add a decent amount of Mod Podge right onto the glass base, and you can get Mod Podge at Dollar Tree as well. And as you can see, I did my base in sections. Once you have your Mod Podge onto your vase, grab one of your laser cutouts and place it right onto where you put the Mod Podge. Now take your paintbrush and add another decent amount of Mod Podge on top of the laser cutout. As you are doing this, you will see the laser cutout start to lay down and stick to the glass vase. Since this is the first time that I've actually done something like this, I was also learning as I was going, and I realized that if you put the Mod Podge on and let it sit for a few minutes to kind of get tacky, the laser cutout will stick and really adhere and lay down flat pretty much right away, and then you could go over top of it with another layer of Mod Podge. I don't know about you guys, but I love quick and easy DIYs that still turn out absolutely gorgeous, and this is definitely one of them. All you have to do is keep adding those laser cutouts until you have as many as you would like. Let the Mod Podge dry completely and your vase is done. And here's how this beautiful DIY turned out. This is how it looks in the evening with a candle in it, and it is so gorgeous. And here's how it looks with some light on it. I absolutely love how it is giving those clear stained glass vibes. If you do not know what that looks like, definitely look it up on Google. It looks so close to this. I just love how this came out. And I called this a vase/candle holder because you could use it as a candle holder, or you could put greenery in it and use it as a vase and also add some fairy lights as well. Or you could also do it like I did and just add a little accent piece and let the beauty shine all on its own. On to the next DIY, which is this modern wood tray. Dollar Tree has been carrying so many different new wood pieces, and I used 6 of the 23-inch wood pieces and 2 of the 12-inch wood pieces. I do want to let you guys know that you can save some money on this DIY if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's for the wood, or even another hardware store, but I don't really have one close by, and I wanted to try and keep this mostly, well, all Dollar Tree actually. So I used the Dollar Tree wood, but of course you could use any wood you would like. I lined the 6 23-inch wood pieces together, and then I took some wood glue and hot glue, which I also got the wood glue from Dollar Tree, and I just placed the 12-inch piece of wood onto the side of the longer boards. When I placed mine down, I left a tiny little bit of the longer boards peeking out from the side so that it wasn't completely even with the longer boards. Then I just went in and did the same exact thing with the second 12-inch wood piece, and I placed the wood glue and hot glue onto the wood piece and then placed it down at the other end of the longer wood pieces. Okay, so I know I cannot be the only one who does this, but you know those Dollar Tree foam paintbrushes? Well, when they are no longer useful, I don't throw the whole thing away. I take off the head part, it kind of just pulls right out, and I keep the wooden piece for a wooden dowel rod. I mean, it is perfect. I use them all the time. So then I take some wood glue and hot glue, and I glue 2 of those together, and I do that 2 times. So then you will have 2 of these longer dowel rod pieces. Using another wood paintbrush, and I use my scissors and just start scoring as I kind of twist it around until it breaks apart. You can cut these however you would like. They cut fairly easily, and I make 4 1-inch wood pieces, and I sand each one as I go. Using my black chalk paint, I paint both of the longer wooden dowel rod pieces, and then I also paint all 4 of the little 1-inch wood pieces. For the main part of the tray, I knew I wanted to stain that, but I have a little one in the house. She is 2 and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I have her all throughout the day. So she's home all the time as I'm crafting. Most of the time she's napping, but still I don't like to use chemicals in the house. So here is a faux stain technique that is absolutely amazing. All you have to do is add a little bit of paint, a few drops into some water, and you could use whatever color you would like. I used the Apple Barrel Burnt Umber, and then I used my paintbrush to stir it that I painted the black handles with so that it was just a tad bit darker. Then all you have to do is start placing it right on to your board. You can wipe it off after you place it on, but I just left mine right how it is. And you guys, look at that wood grain coming out. I absolutely love this stain technique. No one has ever known that it was just paint and water instead of actual stain on any of my projects. And if you look up in the right hand corner and down at the bottom, as I'm putting this on, you literally can see this drying, and this is not sped up at all. I mean, it dries literally within seconds, and like I said, there's no icky chemicals, no smells, no dry time. I mean, I just love this technique, and honestly, I don't think I've used real stain since. Once you have your board completely faux stained, don't forget to get the sides. You definitely want to get those as well. You're going to start building the handles, or well, putting them together. And all I did was take the smaller wood pieces, add some hot glue and some E6000. You could use whatever glues you would like. And I just take the little wood piece and place it about an inch from the edge on the longer black wood piece. You're just going to do the same thing with the other wood pieces, and that is gluing the little 1-inch pieces on each end of the black longer dowel rods about an inch from the edge. And then you will have 2 of these modern looking handles. When it comes to putting the tray together, you could technically take some screws and place it up the bottom of the tray and into the handles and actually pick the tray up by the handles, but mine is more of a decorative piece, so I use some hot glue and wood glue, and I just glue both of those handles to the center part of the 12-inch wood pieces on either side of the tray. And here's how this absolutely stunning modern wood tray turned out. If you would like, you could add a spray sealer or even place some Mod Podge over it, but I just kind of left it just as is because it really won't be messed with too much, and I think it is just absolutely stunning, and I love dressing it up in different ways. And yes, like I said, you could make it cheaper with other wood, but this was only $11.25 to make. The next DIY is this nature wreath, and this went viral on TikTok pretty much as soon as I posted it, so I knew I had to come on here and show you guys as well. Using a foam wreath form from the Dollar Tree and 1 bag of their potpourri, I've seen it purple, green, red, and a tan color, and you also get these little decorative balls in there. I just take these out and actually place them in a vase and use them as decorative balls, and you also get these little flowers. I believe you only get 1, but it is super cute. I will also be using 1 bag of floral moss from the Dollar Tree. Using my hot glue gun, I start adding hot glue in sections onto my foam wreath form, and then I put my moss into a bucket so that I could just dip the wreath right into the bucket and kind of cover that section with the moss. And you can see me using a Dollar Tree silicone makeup brush to push that moss right into the wreath form so that I don't burn my fingers. By the way, whoever came up with that is a pure genius. Just keep adding hot glue and then covering it with the floral moss until you have your wreath completely covered. Once you have your wreath covered, and it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, we are going to be covering most of this up anyways. We just need it in case we have little spots that peek through. You don't want to see that ugly foam wreath form underneath. So then I just take the potpourri pieces and I just start hot gluing them right to the wreath. And I did not do this in any certain direction. I just tried making sure there wasn't a bunch of the same colors next to each other. And you just keep filling it up until you have your wreath completely covered. You could add a bow or whatever you would like to this, but I absolutely love the natural beauty, so I left it just as is. And another little hack is if you have a project where you can get a lot of those little hot glue strands, use a blow dryer or heat gun and those will melt and disappear right away. And here's a look at how this DIY turned out. This wreath is so gorgeous. I am loving that purple, and let me tell you, my house smells absolutely amazing. The purple bag is the lavender scent, and I've had my wreath up for a little over 2 weeks now, and I can still smell it all the way throughout the house. You don't even have to be in the same room. The next DIY is these decorative balls, and I have seen so many people going crazy over these, and I've seen the prices online and they are super expensive, so I knew we could make them cheaper using Dollar Tree items. You will need a few different sizes of the Dollar Tree styrofoam balls, and for one of the balls you will need a 9.5 foot inch nautical rope from Dollar Tree. Using my hot glue gun, I add some hot glue to the styrofoam ball, and I do have my heat gun on the low temp heat setting so that it does not melt the styrofoam balls, because these balls do have a tendency to want to melt sometimes. So all you're going to do is place the rope onto the hot glue and start wrapping the rope around the styrofoam ball. And as I add the hot glue to the styrofoam ball, I also kind of add it to the rope that is already on the styrofoam ball as well, so that when I add the rope going around, it does adhere to the ball and also to the rope next to it. Once you have wrapped the rope around the ball a few times, you actually get to a point where you can kind of wrap the rope without having to hot glue it, because there's no way it's going to come unraveled. But when you get closer to the end on the other side of the ball, you do want to start using your hot glue and just add the rope until it is completely covered. For my next ball, I wanted to have the same look but different, so I used the 8-foot nautical rope, which I believe this is the fatter, like wider nautical rope than the previous one that we just used. And again, I did the exact same process where I just added the hot glue and then started wrapping the styrofoam ball until the ball was completely covered. I love how these are the same look but still different, and they definitely look like they go together. I also wanted a few little small balls that had that same look to them, so Dollar Tree has a 6-pack of these little styrofoam balls, and I just hot glued the Dollar Tree jute twine and wrapped the ball with that twine until it was completely covered, just like we did the 2 previous balls. For a different look, I'm going to be using the rest of the floral moss that we used in the wreath DIY. Like I said, you only need 1 bag, and I didn't even use the whole bag, so I'm using the rest for this DIY. Add some hot glue to your styrofoam ball, then place it into the floral moss, and then again, you will see me using that Dollar Tree silicone makeup brush to kind of push that floral moss right into the ball and make it stick better. That will also have the floral moss kind of lay down flat and not be sticking out everywhere and looking crazy. Continue adding the hot glue and the floral moss until your ball is completely covered. And of course, I did a few of the smaller styrofoam balls the same way, adding the hot glue and then the floral moss. And here's how this DIY turned out. These are so gorgeous, and I was literally just at Target yesterday and they had something just like these for $30, and we made ours for just a few dollars and using Dollar Tree items. I put mine in an $8 cloche that I found at a thrift store, and I absolutely love how this looks. As always, I truly hope you all enjoyed these DIYs as much as I enjoyed sharing them with you. And if you liked the content you've seen here today, please hit that thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. And if you would like to be notified when I post new uploads, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, and YouTube should notify you when I post. I hope to see you all and some new friends on the next one. Bye!